Yo, what up? It's Will Maker. Today I'm going to show you how I use Ableton and Pro Tools together. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. So why do I like using Ableton and Pro Tools together? Because I don't like producing in Pro Tools. I don't like the piano roll or the workflow. Mixing and recording is another story. I prefer to do all my mixing and recording in Pro Tools. So when you have a song or a track that you want to add some production to, but wish you could use Ableton's workflow, this is where Ableton Link can help. Here I have a track that I don't like the drum samples or the textures. I just want to add a sound that only Ableton offers. So if you don't see Ableton Link over here, go ahead and click right here and then just select Ableton Link. Also make sure that your start stop is selected along with the link. Now I head up to live, I go to settings, I go to the link tab, I make sure show link toggle is on and start stop sync is on. And now I go ahead and I click on link. Now I do already have a drum pattern programmed in here, and then I also have my sample and instruments already in Pro Tools. Now I do tend to have to come to Pro Tools right after I've selected link, so that way everything plays. But now when I hit spacebar, everything should play. And now if I go back to live, I can also hit spacebar. I can add any instruments if I want to. And I'm good to go. Now you can use Ableton for any additional production with your Pro Tools session. I also find it easiest to bounce my stems separately when I'm ready to add them to my Pro Tools session. But I'll show you the routing option. In Pro Tools, we're going to head up to Setup and we're going to go to the I/O settings. Next, we are going to select Aux I/O and we're going to be selecting Bridge 6. So you need to add Bridge 6 if you want to add individual stems. It's also recommended that you name it and then just make sure that your input is selected. Keep in mind, this is giving you 6 outputs simultaneously. So you can only have 6 outputs at a time. So you can do 3 stereo, 6 mono, etc. at a time. So besides the routing part, this is where I'd rather just bounce my session. So next, I'm going to make sure that I have 3 audio tracks. So our audio from is going to be our drum samples because I'm going to separate all my drums. Now we're going to do pre-effects, the kick, the snare, and the hat. I'm going to make sure that my inputs are selected. And now I'm going to head over to live and settings once again. In my audio, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select Bridge 6. Next, output configuration. I'm going to make sure that these are all selected. You can just select the mono outputs or the stereo outputs, whatever that you're going to be using. And then you can also name these as well. Now when I head down to audio 2, I'm going to select external out. My first tracks 1 and 2 are going to be my kick, which normally I would keep these in solo, but for the example. And then I'm going to select my snare. And lastly, my hat. So now this should be routing to Pro Tools. Now in Pro Tools, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select 3 tracks, and these are going to be stereo in this example. Now, if you come down here and you don't see your Ableton tracks in here, you may need to go back up to your setup and select I/O and then your auxiliary input output. And you may need to just turn this off and then turn it back on again. Because now what we want to see is we want to see Ableton 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Now we can select these tracks. I'm going to select instrument, and now everything should route to Pro Tools. Now it's extra loud because I have this group selected. So it's playing the group along with what I'm routing. So you could turn this off if you want to. So that's how I produce in Ableton while still mixing in Pro Tools. So if you like content like this, please feel free and like and subscribe. Other than that, peace out.